Howdy, what's going on, guys? It's your boy. Welcome back to another video. Today is going to be a different kind of video, nothing I've ever made before. This is going to be a little bit experimental, but the plan is to potentially start doing this once a month at the end of the month, every single month. So today we're doing a series that I like to call My Month in Media. It's where I come on here and I just kind of talk about some of my favorite things that I've watched and consumed this month, because for people who do not know, I have a YouTube channel where I talk primarily about movies, and one of my big goals for this year is to watch 365 movies this year. And the plan was to watch a movie a day, but in January I only watched like 14, so I'm off to a really bad start with that. But I wanted to come on here and just kind of like talk about some of my favorite movies that I've witnessed, and I thought that, you know, it'd be a fun thing to do maybe once a month, because I can also talk about the music and stuff that I'm listening to. Because back when I first made this account, one of my friends that I had on this vlogging YouTube channel, something that they did every month that I really liked and I kind of wanted to do was every month at the end of the month, they will make a video where they make a playlist of all their favorite songs from the month. And I think that that's just like a fun thing to do. So I've been doing it on my own. Last year, every single month, I had made a playlist for each month with all my favorite songs from the month. And it is a really good time. I really enjoy it. It's a very fun way to kind of be able to look back at what you were really into each month. And so that's basically what this series is going to be. I'm just going to be talking about overall any form of art that I've consumed, whether it's reading, because one of my goals for this year is to read 3 books by the end of the year. And I know to a lot of people that doesn't sound like a really huge goal. I've read 5 books in my lifetime, only 5. And I read comic books every once in a while, but I want to read actual full-on novels. There are a couple of big graphic novels that I plan on reading. I have The Last Ronin comic book, which is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic book that is a really serious, dark tone that I'm really excited about. I have that one. There is a Batman, The Brave and the Bold, I believe. I also have that one acquired. And I plan on reading all of the Hunger Games books at some point or other. I'm definitely going to watch Sunrise on the Reaping before that movie comes out. So I have a lot of fun things that I want to read and things that I want to get into this year. So because of that, I figured this would be a fun show to just come on here and kind of talk about everything. So we're going to do a little bit of a different section for each different, TV shows are going to have their own section, movies are going to have their own section, books and music are going to have their own section. But the 2 primary ones that I'm going to be talking about every month is movies and music, because something you'll learn about me, I'm not really good at watching TV shows. It takes a lot out of me to binge an entire TV show. So whenever I do talk about a TV show, I will have one to talk about this month, it usually has to be something that really catches my attention and really grips me and makes me think, oh, I have to watch this entire thing right now because it is insanely good. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and start off with the movies, because my plan as this series kind of progresses and becomes its own big flourishing thing, and I don't have to over explain everything. We're going to start off with the movies. There's going to be a rapid review section where I'm just kind of going to go through and I'm going to tell you guys my rating of stars for each of these movies. I logged them on Letterboxd, so I went through and I got all my Letterboxd ratings kind of together, and I'm going to tell you the movie I watched, my overall basic rating for it, and just a couple of key points and things that I liked about it, things that I didn't like about it. And then from there, we will go into our music section where I'm going to list off my top 5 artists of the month that I listen to the most and tell you my favorite songs from them, because as opposed to making an entire playlist, YouTube doesn't let you play sound clips for most songs, so I feel like that'd be really boring, especially because I made my playlist for the month of January 2026, and it is 44 songs long. So instead, I'm just going to highlight my top 5 artists and some of my favorite songs from them. And so we're going to do that, and then I'm going to end with the TV section, and in the future, if I have books, it'll be books at the very, very end. So that being said, to quickly get into my rapid reviews for all of the movies that I saw, I think I said I watched 14. That's definitely wrong. Hold on, let me count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I watched 8 movies. The reason I had the number wrong is because I logged a couple of TV shows on Letterboxd, so it looks like I've watched a lot more than I have. But to quickly rapid fire through them, the first movie I watched this year was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or the Sorcerer's Stone, if you're American like I am. I gave that movie a 3.5 stars. I really like it. It's very nostalgic, but it is very much a long movie, and it's really weird because the movie's pacing is kind of odd, because you start off very early on. They're, just starting the school year. Everything's great. They're learning everything slowly but surely. And the progression from how quickly they go from it's the beginning of the year to it's Christmas now to bam, it's the end of the year is a little odd. But other than that, I do really like this movie. I think that none of the characters have as much of a big moment to shine as they get in some of the later movies, so I didn't want to rate it too high, but it's definitely a great starting point for the franchise, and the score is absolutely phenomenal, and just the overall like setting of this film feels incredibly magical, so I do really like that. The next one, we got the comedy that came out in 2023, 2024 called Bottoms. This movie was absolutely hilarious. I give it 5 stars because it's just such a chaotic movie that has such over-the-top comedic bits that I absolutely loved. I thought they were fantastic. The next one, we have the original Charlie's Angels movie that came out in the year 2000. I gave that one 3.5 stars. I liked it for the most part, but one of the biggest twists of the movies to me was painfully obvious because they casted Sam Rockwell. And if you know anything about Sam Rockwell, the man plays a phenomenal villain. So the second he showed up, I was like, oh, he's playing them. Oh, he's going to double cross them. And then he did. So one of the like biggest like cool reveals of the movie was kind of ruined to me. And I also just think that some of the characters didn't really have enough time to like shine on their own. But that being said, dumb fun action. If you want a movie that feels very 2000s, that's a good one to watch. People We Meet on Vacation. This is the only movie that I've watched that came out this year. I give this movie 5 stars. It is absolutely phenomenal. If you are into rom-coms, you will absolutely love this movie. I think that it very much is incredibly cliche. There's a lot of elements to it that like you could see coming from a mile away. But that being said, the leading actor and actress have phenomenal chemistry. The conflicts in the film feel extremely organic and real. And it has something that I really like in a movie, which is whenever characters have arguments, both of them are valid. Like, the guy gets pissed off at the girl for a very valid reason, and the girl gets mad at the guy for a very valid reason, and they have this really big argument where you could really feel the emotions and the pain and everything that they've been through, and the way that it builds throughout this film is just really fun and really fantastic. If you have Netflix, go watch The People We Meet on Vacation right now. It is very, very good. The next one, we got the movie Howl's Moving Castle. I give this movie 3 stars. This is the first Studio Ghibli film I've ever seen, and after doing a little bit of research after watching the movie, this is not a great first Studio Ghibli movie to watch. Studio Ghibli is a studio that's kind of known for some of its slower paced moments, and it's like animation, and it just is a form of art in itself. It doesn't worry as much about like the plot and filling you in on a bunch of details. And so when I left this movie, I was still very confused about a lot of the world building and a lot of the magical aspects of the film. And apparently you're not supposed to think too far into it. So I kind of ruined my own experience there. The next one, we have Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. This is the second one. I like this one significantly better. I think the pacing made a lot more sense. I think that the more world building we're getting here is absolutely fantastic. The introduction of Dopey is fantastic. I absolutely love him. And I absolutely love the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, who is somebody who's like, I'm a wizard, and people kind of think of me as a loser, but I can just start writing a bunch of cool things, pretending to be this amazing wizard who goes on these grand adventures, and no one will ever know. I can just say that these are autobiographies, and in reality, I can just make shit up, and he does that. And then in the end of the movie, where he's having to kind of like, try to actually be a cool, good wizard, he can't do it. And I love that. I think that that's awesome, and I also love the way that Voldemort's omnipresence in this film feels a lot more like he's there, he's lurking in the shadows, he's kind of a spooky, scary guy. That's awesome. The Voldemort build-up right now is actually getting me so hyped. I really need to continue on with the Harry Potter movies. But that being said, the next movie I saw, K-pop Demon Hunters. This movie, the song Golden won the Golden Globes for the what? The song Golden won the Golden Globes. I'm starting to think it was intentional. Golden winning a Golden Globe? No way. That actually just blew my mind. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. But anyways, that song won the Golden Globe for Best Original Song in a Movie. And I'm a diehard truther for the movie Sinners that came out last year. And in my opinion, in the movie Sinners, the song I Lied to You is probably the most impactful a song has ever been to the grand scheme of a movie ever. The whole plot of the movie is that if you're a good enough musician, you can kind of bridge the gap of, the ancestors and just completely break the space-time continuum, whatever, and they basically do that in this film. There's a sequence where the guy sings I Lied to You, and it's so good that the ancestors are there, and then you hear the tribal African music, and then it fast forwards to modern day, and you hear regular hip-hop and stuff like that, and you see the people who are doing these different dances, and it starts off with, the typical tribal, very old-fashioned dancing styles or whatever to the new modern hip-hop stuff, and then they even do it with the Asian culture with a couple of Asian characters that are in the film. It is beautiful. It is breathtaking. It is one of the best scenes I've ever seen. So I went to watch K-pop Demon Hunter, almost like hate watching it because I'm like, Golden did not deserve the Golden Globe over the song I love, I Lied to You. And then K-pop Demon Hunter was really good. So I gave it 5 stars. The animation is absolutely beautiful. The story is absolutely incredible. I love a forbidden love story, and it's so good in this movie. And I like the fact that the main character is somebody who's really struggling with their self-identity, and they don't feel comfortable in their own skin, and the way that their shame is symbolized on them by the markings of them being a demon. Very cool. That is awesome. I really liked everything about that. And then the last movie that I watched in the month of January was How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I give that movie 3.5 stars. In my opinion, it is a very hard watch, and that's kind of on me for not seeing that coming. I personally cannot stand when movies have really bad secondhand embarrassment, and this movie was just full of secondhand embarrassment because the whole point is the girl is trying to drive the guy away, so she's constantly not being a good significant other. She's constantly making him kind of embarrass himself out in public, and it's really awkward. It's really tough. And it's not until like an hour 10, an hour 20 minutes into the movie that they actually have their first scene where they're like really locked in and they have like a really great romantic chemistry and everything is fantastic. And in my opinion, that's too long into a movie before you actually start feeling like the characters are in love. So, that being said, that's really fun. I enjoyed that. That was all of the movies that I saw this month. I tried to do my best to do a quick little rapid review of them. So that section might be longer in the future. It might be shorter in the future. We'll see. I'm going to try to kind of condense things and keep things as short as possible because as I try to get, watching 30 movies in next month or 40 movies in a future month, it's going to be really hard to go through every single one, but that is the plan. That's the vision. Next up, we got all of the music that I've listened to this month. Like I said, have made a playlist of every song that I really was into this month, and it was 44 songs long. I want to come on here and just highlight 5 of the artists that kind of show up a lot, and I'm going to start off with number 5. I have Bigga the Plug. This is really funny to me. Last year, I had the chance to see this guy in concert because he was performing at like a college near me, and the students got to go to see him for free, and they got a +1 ticket, and one of my friends who went to the college was like, hey, come to this concert with me. We could watch Bigga the Plug, and I was like, who? And then at the beginning of this year, there was an edit trend going on TikTok with the song, safe to say I'm the biggest, the largest, been stepping on my mama since my mama wasn't my mama, whatever, right? And I was like, fuck, that's kind of fun. That beat goes really hard. His voice is really sick. I like it. So I started listening to a little bit more rap music this year, and he happened to keep popping up. So songs like 600 Degrees is absolutely fantastic. The song From the Bottom by Bigga the Plug, really good. So I was pleasantly surprised by the fact that he was somebody I listened to a lot this month, but I had a couple of his songs in my playlist, so I wanted to give him a shout out. Coming in 4th place, this is a person who I'm probably not going to include in the future of these videos, Hozier, because I listen to Hozier a lot. He's my number 1 artist on Spotify all time. I've seen him in live in concert. He's absolutely phenomenal, and I will probably always listen to Hozier songs whenever I'm, feeling like I want something that's like politically resonant and something that could like really help me feel the rage that I'm currently feeling. He has so many great political songs. If I'm ever feeling like head over heels madly in love with somebody, he has some great songs for that. So I had songs like D Shelby Part 2 was in my list. The Angel of Small Death and the Codent Scene from his first album. That's one of my favorite songs he's ever done. It's a great song to listen to in the gym. Nobody's Soldier has been huge for me this month. Dinner and Diatribe, absolutely fantastic. He has so many songs that are constantly great and are constantly going to be showing up in my playlist. So I might not include him in the future. I might just like put up a little note saying Hozier is my number 1 artist. I'm not including him in my top 5, but I love him. And start doing that for each of these months. But because this is the first video I'm doing, I wanted to come on here and praise Hozier because he is phenomenal. Next up, our number 3. This is a new artist. I've actually only heard 3 or 4 of his songs. Only 2 of them made it onto the playlist. But one of them is so huge that I'm like, I gotta give this man credit because I'd been singing this song nonstop and it finally released to Spotify like 3 or 4 days ago. And I've been playing it nonstop. So the artist is Ian Elliott. He has a song called Someone Less Good that is really, but the song that he released this month that is insanely good is called Mystic Woman. And oh my holy God, it is insanely, insanely good. If you have not heard it, go listen to it right now. People are kind of calling him the American Hozier, and I think that's kind of funny because Hozier being one of my top artists, of course, somebody who's nicknamed the American Hozier is going to be somebody I really enjoy, but that song is genuinely insanely, insanely good. Future editing, Blake. I was debating whether or not to put in this next clip, but I decided, you know what? I'm trying to branch out more and I'm trying to be a little bit more confident in myself. So this next bit is me trying to sing a part of that song that I was just talking about that I thought was really good. Oh, mystic woman, what a sacred view, that even God might spare the rod and let me worship you. In a rebirth I'd scorch the earth so I could grow it back anew and give to you. Ooh. So there's that. And then our top two artists are both going to be bands that I'm hoping to potentially see in concert this year, which is part of the reason why I've been listening to them so much. The second one is going to be one called The Happy Fits. Them I know for sure are going to be in concert. I believe they're going to be in my general area, so I'm hopefully potentially going to get to see them. But I listened to a couple of songs from them. The song Mary is a really good one. Heart of a Dancer, absolutely fantastic. Dirty Imbecile, really, really good. Something I like about the Happy Fits is they tend to have violins in their music, and they happen to have like a lot more instruments than I feel like a lot of other bands have. Like a lot tend to stick to, you know, typical like here's the guitar, here's the bass, here's the drums, stuff like that. These guys have everything, and it's so good. The last song that I want to shout out from them is a song called Do Your Worst. That's one that I've discovered probably in the last 3 days. It is incredibly good. I love everything about these guys. They're absolutely killing it. But my number one is a band called Friday Pilots Club. They're really good. They're insanely good. I've been listening to one of their albums, which I'm going to have to look at the name again, called Nowhere. They came out in 2024. They're just absolutely fantastic. They have a song called Trading Punches that I absolutely love. Out of My Body, absolutely incredible. Just all kinds of songs from them. There's a song, it's like Problem, but it's PRBLM. I think that there's not an L in it. PRBM. Fantastic. I really like that song. And they just overall have an incredible vibe. And everything about their music tends to be really upbeat, really good songs to run to. And I've been running like crazy this month. My steps that I've gotten in this month is already over 600,000 steps for the year. So I'm averaging about 20,000 steps a day, which is kind of insane. But it's a really good time. I'm loving it. I'm having the time of my life right now. But yeah, those are all of the movies that I've watched. Those are some of the artists that I wanted to talk about music-wise. And now to talk about the last thing that I'm going to talk about, we have a TV show. And this is a TV show that I was planning on like watching slowly over the time span of the next couple of weeks. And then I watched the first couple of episodes and I was like, I need to watch it all right now. So the TV show on Disney Plus called Wonder Man. For those of you guys who could not behind me, I got a Black Panther poster. Over here, I got a Marvel poster right behind my recording studio. I have a Spider-Man poster and a Dark Knight poster. Superhero movies and TV shows have been huge for me my entire life. I'm constantly trying to find, you know, whatever superhero movies and TV shows I can watch. I think they're awesome. And this show is so insanely refreshing for somebody who's seen probably over 10 or 15 superhero TV shows. It feels genuinely like any that I've ever seen before. This movie is 100%, I called it a movie. This show is 100% a character study. The main character, Simon Williams, is somebody who has this huge passion and this huge dream of, I really want to be an actor. I really want to be in the film industry. I've always wanted to be able to go out there and just give it my all and potentially be able to be a movie star. And the way that he resonates with films, the way that he resonates with TV shows and just different acting performances is something that feels incredibly relatable. As somebody who is super into movies and TV shows, I've always felt like a connection with movies. And anytime I'm sitting in a cinema chair, I just feel at home in a sense, and this movie just kind of made me feel at home, because Simon Williams doesn't have a whole lot of friends. He has superpowers, but he's really scared about like potentially hurting people with them or accidentally using them, and people finding out that his secret that he has superpowers. And so because of that, he's never able to let anybody get close, and he always feels really alone and lonely, and he has these like walls that are really hard to come down. And you hear people like his mother, who really loved him and care about him, talking about how it's really heartbreaking to her that he feels so alone and nobody really gets him and understands him, but at least he has his movies, and it's heartbreaking. I cried multiple times watching the show, and I just didn't expect that. I think that it is absolutely beautiful, and the power of friendship and having people who can truly understand you and see who you are as a person, and just that like vulnerability of letting yourself be known by other people just was absolutely incredible. I just wasn't really expecting that. And what's it called? Sir Ben Kingsley is a phenomenal actor, and he's somebody who's been working with Marvel for quite a few years now. He's been working with them since Iron Man 3, which came out in like 2014. So yeah, over 10 years of playing this silly little character named Trevor Slattery. And they really were like, okay, let's let his acting chops show through. And he just gives such a beautiful performance of somebody who genuinely is just like on the run, trying to outrun his past, which is a really bad past because he pretended to be a terrorist. And he's able to find like these really serious moments to be sincere and to talk to Simon Williams and kind of explain to him that like, hey, I know you feel like you can't be yourself because you have this issue and you have these superpowers and you can't use those superpowers, but having those flaws, having those issues, and having those fears is what makes you genuinely human, and it's what makes you such a great person to be around. We love you even with your flaws, and it's just such like an accepting moment, and there's just so much beautiful character moments throughout this entire show. If you have not seen it, I definitely would recommend watching it and checking it out. It is beautiful. It's not action heavy, which is something that I think is phenomenal. There's been a lot of people who have been rating the show poorly because they're like, he doesn't do any superhero stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the point. And I absolutely love that. I think that in a lot of ways it is kind of an allegory for queer actors in Hollywood. For people who do not know, it's kind of like really hard for actors to come out and still be able to have successful careers. And it, in a lot of ways, feels like it's resembling that. And I really loved it. I thought that the show was very powerful. And it's something that I'm glad Marvel was able to fully release. Whether or not they released it the right way and, you know, they didn't give it a proper like week-to-week release, I still think that it's getting the love that it deserves. A lot of people are watching it. It's getting its flowers. And I just wanted to also give it its flowers. But yeah, that being said, that was it for this video, guys. It was incredibly long. I will try to maybe keep these a little bit shorter, but that being said, I wanted to talk about all the media that I enjoyed this week, and that included a lot of stuff, a lot of music, a lot of movies, and one beautifully awesome TV show that really caught me off guard. But that being said, that was it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming by and checking it out. I love and appreciate you guys so much for watching. And if you liked it, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Bow. Bow.